We're going to be looking at the top 6 lithium-related companies on the ASX this week through their performance over the last month. We've got performances ranging from 43% all the way up to 156% for the month. This is Final Market Points, where we connect the leading market themes with the top performing companies for better trading. Now, these top 6 companies we're going to look at are only a handful of those that we've drilled down and had a look at in more detail for this long-term lithium theme to see how it's been trading. Now, we've looked at that. You can click on the link in the description. But this week we're jumping into the top 6, and you can see on the list here we've got 7 because Jindalee only just missed the best performing companies. I'm going to put that chart up on the screen here. So you can see JRL rounding out from $2 in December, getting up to $4.80 to where it is today. They're in 7th place, coming in at 43% over the last month. Now, other companies that many people follow and like to ask questions about are Lake Resources, and we'll have a look at that chart because that is phenomenal, and we're looking at a high and tight flag there. So when looking at Lake Resources, we're coming from $1, a good strong base, albeit volatile. That's a volatility contraction pattern in itself. Then it breaks out, which we've looked at in detail, and then rallies into this high and tight flag formation. This rapid burst, this really fast rise on explosive volume, and then consolidating and holding more than half of its gain in that consolidation, that creates the high and tight flag, and it's really a good phenomenal trading pattern for ASX listed miners, small cap miners, those all across the world, but Australia has so many of them that really benefit from the high and tight flag, so understanding that is key to trading the best performing companies on the ASX. But we're going to have a look at the top 6. That brings us to ESS. They come in at 6th place this week. Over the last month, they have moved and they've put on 43%. We can see on the table on the left-hand side. This movement has had them come from lows of 30 cents in February up to 70 cents to where they're trading right now as a recording, or just ticked under after open. That's ESS. Again, that's 100% gain, but this movement has seen fits and spurts, so we wouldn't be looking at that for a high and tight flag. Next on is BNR, Bulletin Resources, 48.29% over the month. BNR's chart's coming up on the right-hand side, seeing that basing pattern. January, February is where it really kicks into gear. Now, this is the one that we looked at as kicking off the breakouts in February and March. So they started January, they had another breakout in February, and that's where we saw all the other lithium miners come out. We'll have a quick look at that so you can really get that context. Here we go. Bring this out to full screen for you. So BNR breakout on the 17th of February was the first that led to the rest happening. AVZ, QXR on the 28th of Feb. 1st of March we had 4, Lake, LPI, FFX, CXO, and as the numbers go on. So BNR was the first. Enough on that because I know we're digressing on the top 6. We come back into these top 6 and put this over to the left. That's BNR, and it's great to see that it's pushed up once again and coming in high ranking. PNN put on 73% over the month. PNN putting that chart on the right. That's coming out of that VCP, or that rounding base formation. You can see we're going to cut this chart down on time to get rid of that huge volume spike in September. Bring it in here to see that not only the volatility contract, so we're coming from 80 cents down to 40 cents, up to 65, back down to 40, rounding base, and coming on the 200-day moving average being that red line. Note how the volume tightens up right in here, February and March. So we're not looking at the New Year period, that was higher. We're looking at February and March really tightening up. We know that BNR breaks out the 17th of Feb, so we already know back here there's a good amount of volume and investment being ploughed into lithium companies. But they're still rounding out the base. They're trolling out that VCP bottom, and the volume is drying up significantly. Then we have, from a Wyckoff perspective, or we have a break, we have good swing movement from a volume price analysis. We see this breakout 23rd of March, and away it goes. That gets us from 40 cents to 95 to where we're trading right now on today's trading session. And this creates the high and tight flag that we want to be watching and monitoring because it is holding up nice and tight and explosive movement. 45 cents, 95, more than 100% rise. This is on our short list. Next on up, SYA. SYA takes out 3rd position. Similar sort of movement. We're going to zoom out. You're seeing that VCP, which is why we're looking at this in detail. I mean, we did the video the last couple of weeks, drilling down on the trend and understanding how it moves against the commodity itself, the futures. February breakout after trading hold, shoots up with big volume, 10th of March, off it goes, 12 cents, 36 cents where it is today. That's high tide flag breakout. Only paused for about 4 days there on 11th to 12th of April. Shoots out this big strong candle here, 13th of April. Ideally, we'd want to see even more volume, but it is still positive and above average for the last couple of days. That's a high tide flag breakout. Following Thomas Bolkowski's measure rule, we're going to go from be generous, 15 cents up to 30 cents. It's at least a 15% cents rally there. So that breakout from about 33, 32, add the 15 cents on here. And we're looking at 45, 48 cents as a profit target from that high and tight flag, if that's how it pans out. Now we move to second place, MLS. MLS put on 86% for the month. Second place over the week. You can see these changing here. So that while this normally happens, this sort of movement, we're seeing the flicking in between a few price steps here, coming up under 6 cents. We normally see that around 10 cents. So they've got this twice because they've had the consolidation. Shares have come down here at different trading levels and then flicks up over 10 cents, away it goes. So now it's up towards 17, 18 cents, whereas trading has come from down 4 cents only back in the start of March. So that's got MLS at second place, moving very quickly. Next we have TEM, I should say. So Tempest Minerals put on 156% in the last month. If you take yourself back to the 24th of March, things trading at 2.3 cents, gets up to over 20 cents in a matter of days, comes back down and loses more than half of that gain. We're sitting at the lower half around the 50% level. That's not what we want to see, a high tight flag. So that tells us they're still selling about, but the volume's drying up, so it's not being belted back down under 10 cents. That we'll watch with interest. It doesn't look like the high tight flag. If you want to have a look at this lithium theme in more detail, we've run through some of our proprietary indicators and things that we look at and how we monitor trends and thematics. Have a look here at some common base to understand the time differences between the first breaking out and the last. You can have a look at this video in more detail, or you can subscribe to keep on top of how we monitor these, the time and the dates of the breakouts. I'd also like to jump into some correlation studies and have a look to see how they work and what other unique ways that this specific theme is trading. But we also like to have a look at, this is really interesting, at the times, the launch pads of the videos we bring out on Fridays with Gary Glover, having a look at the launch pad and how that's an early indicator before the breakouts. So that's part of the thematics that we love to drill down into. But what we've got here is the top 6, and that's what we're going to leave it at today.